Hi everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. Today I'm going to do a card that continues on with the series of making your own shimmer paper, the DIY shimmer. But before we get going on that, if you're watching the video the day this video posts, then later on that same day, or if you watched it after, then you can go back. I should have, fingers crossed, it always depends on UPS, I should have the unboxing video for my holiday catalog, the September to December 2024 catalog. So I've ordered a bunch of stuff. I think I got all the sweets. I think maybe one I didn't get. I don't remember. I don't have a physical copy of the catalog, and I find it really difficult to order when I don't have one, when I'm placing a really big order like this. But I have a ton of stuff that I'll be able to show you. And every time we have a new catalog, then I do my most popular class, and it is maybe 2/3 full already, and registration just opened. So early bird is open for a few days, and then it'll go to regular pricing. So it's called my Try It class, and in that class, it's an online class. Together, we will make 10 projects. We will use 10 of the new papers, which is almost all of them, except for the specialty paper. It may be all of them. Again, don't have the catalog, so it's hard for me to count when I'm just scrolling on the pages. And we will use all the new embellishments and all the new ribbons as long as they stay in stock. Then there are selections of folders and new punches and new dies and all of that. So here is the first. If you go watch this video, this little fun fold here, most of the 10 cards, they will all either be a fun fold or based off a template. So you can see this makes a little easel card. And this one is called, I think it's called something with Ness. I don't remember, but if you go watch the video, I have the name of it. So you can see you'll get lots of designer series paper. You get the new twine, you get the new embellishments. You get a video for each on how to put each one together. And plus we kind of look at the sweets in those videos. And then you get a PDF that you can keep and refer back to. This is for last year's holiday catalog. So you can see there's photos. You can store it in your Kindle program or just as a book on your device. There's links, you can click back to them. All the videos are connected to this as long as you're online. Has all the measurements, all the written instructions. So that is open if you want to go register for that. And then tomorrow when I get my new stuff, now that I've been doing this class for several years, when I get my new things, I take one of my past PDFs, like the one I just showed you. Oh, she has been a big helper on the last few videos. She just likes to be up here. I gave her her own Instagram tutorial. So she comes up here though and she chews on my cords, and I don't want her to shock herself while we're on camera. Now I don't even know what I was saying. Oh, I'll show you one of the past projects that we did on my PDF, and I will take the new stuff that we get, because that's what I want you to be able to do with your PDF, is reuse it in the future with other things. So there is that. Now, move this out of the way. So for today, I am going to go on and show you more with the shimmer technique. This card has lots of shimmered stuff on it. Oh goodness. I always have to take a break and give her some attention so she'll get down. All of my cats are very needy. Hang on. Oh, the UPS man came. So when he rang the doorbell, she finally got down. She was insistent on being up here. So let me see. Where was I? Today I'm going to use the Country Flowers. So this month in my online card club, we are using the, what's it called? The Country Woods Sweet Collection. Our stamp set this month is the Birdhouse, the Country Birdhouse, but they are able to add on the Country Flowers. Now there's cat hair all over everything. The Country Flower set, if they want to. A perk of being in my online card club is that they just pay catalog price. So for this, you pay catalog price. For that, you pay catalog price. If you choose to add it on, they can always substitute something if they have it. So if you want to learn more about my online card club, just go watch this video. So this one I made, and you can go see it. It has the wood paper, the Country Birdhouse, and then I used this designer series paper, and the designer series paper is on sale in August. So this is actually what is my card club. Today I'm going to use the Country Flower set, which is this one, which is the add-on, and I'm going to switch it up, and I'm going to use the Country, what's that one called? Country Woods paper, also on sale. So if you're in card club, you're going to get this paper, but you might want to add this on just because it goes well if you have the birdhouse and things. So let's make the card. Got dies stuck to everything. It's super easy. Again, we are going to use my technique of making shimmer paper with the glycerin and the Wink of Stella. I'm not going to show you how to do that in this video. I will have it linked to the end, and then if you look down under the description of the video, it will be there as well. So I'm going to use, get the cat here, all the stuff, espresso for the background, and for the card base. You can see I tried some different things on here. And then I am going to shimmer some white paper. And then here is a piece of the Country Woods paper, and it is cut. I like both sides. It'd be really pretty. You could do the same card and do it on here. I'm trying to go for a completely different look than that. So on this one, I tried to keep the colors soft and subtle. On this one, we're going to go a little bit more bold and white accents. So I chose this side. So we're going to shimmer some basic beige, some white, and then a little bit of this. So one thing I learned after I've been doing this is if you shimmer on a piece of cardstock for the pieces that are smaller, then eventually this scrap paper will be shimmer white paper, right? I was wasting that because my scrap was so beautiful, and I was like, oh, I wish I could use that. And then I thought, well, why am I using scrap down here? Just use a piece of white or vanilla or any color, really. So I have my solution here. I should have shaken it up before the video started. The Wink of Stella does tend to sink to the bottom. Sometimes I store them like that, but as you see, I have helpers, and they come up on the table and they knock them over. So it doesn't matter if I store them that way. They end up on their sides. So just need a little bit. And then whatever's left on this at the end of what you are making, then just go ahead and shimmer some scrap cardstock that you have. So here's our white. And I don't want any of this to be super thick because I want it to dry, because I'm going to use it now. If you want it to be a little bit more shimmer and put a little bit thicker coat on, then you just know you're going to have some drying time in between. But now you can see as I'm overgoing all this, then this piece eventually will be nice and shimmered too. It may have a little bit of texture because there'll be some places where it doubles up. And then I just need a little bit of this to get, I'm going to stamp the vase and my words on the basic beige. You can see it makes it look like it changes the color of the cardstock. It does not. Here's the scrap. When it dries, it's lighter. It's just because the glycerin makes the paper wet. As we get to it, it will not be like that anymore. And then I'm going to take my Designer Series paper. I used to have shimmer paper a long time ago, but it only came in a cross between vanilla and white. The fun thing about this technique is that you can shimmer everything that you want to shimmer. So I'm just going to kind of add this on here. I want to keep the edges of it so they look like wood and just give that little blast of the shimmer through there. And I pretty much used all of that. So if you watch the original video, I put about maybe a half of a Wink of Stella. I went back and added a little bit more than when I did the original, because it's easier to see on camera. If it's a tad bit shinier in person, it doesn't make a difference. But I have shimmered so much stuff with that now. So let's move these aside. So one of the things we're going to do on this one, well, let's stamp first and then we'll kind of talk about it. I'm going to stamp with Memento, and I haven't done anything. So this is the amount of dry time that we've had from when I just made it to now. So I'm going to stamp the flowers first on here. So nice and beautiful. And then I'm going to stamp my little vase or bucket. I debated. I like all of the little things that you can put flowers in this set, and I really didn't know which one to use. So stamp that there. And then I have the words. I'm going to use the words out of this one that say sending love. Oops, didn't stamp that very well. There we go. So if you watched the video that I've done before this one where I used the Thoughtful Wishes, I have colored with some of my blending brushes. These are really old ones. Like, you know what happens to a blending brush when it's old? Like, it just dies. It just kind of dries up, right? I hate throwing things like this away. So you can see both sides of this one are pretty dry. I think I have all dry ones here. No, that's not. I emptied my camp stuff out and I realized that I You may have ones that are not dry. But when you, I guess I'm going to need a little bit more of this solution. You can kind of reactivate a dry one. I wouldn't use one of my new ones because well, you can. I'm not quite sure what it would do with it. So I'm just going to put a tad here. It doesn't take very much for this next step. So my phone's not going off, but because I opened my iPad to show you guys the try it thing video, now my texts are going off. My phone's always turned off. So I'm going to color a little bit of this. So I'm just going to kind of dip my dried, used up blender pen in here and kind of give it a little bit of life. The other thing it's going to do is make the colors move a little bit better. And as I feel it start to kind of dry, you can see that I don't know if it really spread a little bit. It may have because my paper is still pretty wet. I didn't have any dry time in between it all. So I'll show you the other one at the end, what it looks like when you stamp on it and you have some dry time. So there is the beige on beige. Actually, when it bleeds a little bit like that, it's probably easier to see on camera. Okay, so now we're going to switch this, and you can see this is dry, like there is nothing to that. So let's start with our lightest color to color in our flowers. I'm going to go with Daffodil Delight. And then again, because this is dry, it doesn't have anything in it, I'm just going to give a little bit of that. It's kind of the same as using a Wink of Stella. The Wink of Stella will blend a lot better. This, because it just has a tiny bit of the shimmer right on the end of your brush. As soon as you've used up that color, it's gone. The Wink of Stella, it gives you much more movement. But for these tiny things where we don't care if we shade and kind of more paint with it, it works just perfect. And it will give a whole new life to those blender pens that you may have. If you're like me, that you haven't thrown out yet because you're like, I hate to just throw this away. So is that all the yellow? I think so. So that's Daffodil. And then just as you would a regular blender pen, just get that color off. But you know, sometimes if you see me do them when we use our real blender pen, I'm like, don't rub it too much because you don't want to waste all of whatever fluids in here, which who knows, maybe it's glycerin. I have no idea what it is. Now let's go to our pumpkin pie. And again, because this is dry, I'm going to just dab it into there. And I'm literally just dabbing it, so there's not much at all on this. I'm going to just color these flower centers, and then I'm going to go back and kind of, instead of cleaning this, my scrap, I'm just going to add a little bit of the pumpkin pie to the bottom of those yellows because it's a fun little pop of color. Get rid of that. We're going to come back and use this again in a minute when we're done with our die cuts. And then let's go Petunia Pop. This is one of the new in colors. I've got a couple of new in colors on this card. And this one, because it's a darker color, you'll start to see. So I've done those three. Now I'm going to go to a big one because it'll be lighter. And it kind of gives it a little bit of shading. And then I'm going to put some more on my blender pen and get this middle section again. And then as it lightens up, I'll put it here. And you can see as it dries up, it's kind of going like it does on there. I think I want the center to be a little bit brighter because Petunia Pop's a nice, fun, pinky purple. And on these end ones right here, it kind of mixed with my pumpkin pie and daffodil. So as long as we keep those center ones darker, we can go back and add a little bit more. So there's our Petunia Pop, which is not very petunia still. Let me do one more little coat and see if we can get it to go. I should have cleaned my brush off better. There we go. Now it's pinker. I want a pink flower on here. All right, get this off. But this time I'm going to go, I used Orchid Opulence on the first card, and then I'm thinking maybe that's a retired color. I tend to get them all out of the thing, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's not retired, but I felt like after I used it, I was like, I feel like this retired. So I'm going to go with a different purple, Highland Heather. If you have your orchid, you can use it. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Grab my solution and make my paint. And then I'm going to paint each petal. And first I'm going to do some dark, and then I'm going to move up so the dark and the light kind of touch, so you notice there's a difference. That first time that you use these in your stamp pad in the lid, it does leave a little bit of the glycerin solution in there, so you don't have to dip your blender pen in it every time. So that's Highland Heather. Fresh Freesia would be pretty too. So get this off. Although I think the other end of this is the one that has the green on it. Let me see, because if it does, then in a minute when I color my die cuts, yeah. So I'm going to use Shy Shamrock, then I'm going to have to clean both sides off. So grab some solution. You can see where it makes just that little place right there to use. And I would only put that much in there if I knew that I was going to do several things, and there's several leaves on here, so it'll get used up. And then I'm going to color the white flower, but I'm going to do it after I send it through the die cut machine so it's not wet. So I have this. I'm going to hand trim this. I'm going to send this through with the die. And the best part about this is it's going to put a little hole there, and we're going to use that for our ribbon. So those two. And then there's a bunch of these in the set. I am going to use one set of 3 of the flowers, both sets of those little leaves. There may be another set of leaves, and then that. And I'm going to put that on the white. So let me cut these out. So here's our things cut out. There's our flowers. Here's our bucket. And then these that we're going to paint, I'm going to leave them like this just for a second while well, I guess it didn't matter. They're falling out anyways. Let's pull these out. It's weird, these things, isn't it? Sometimes that they all come out but one. Sometimes none of them come out, and sometimes all 3 of them come out, even though you run them through on the same time. So now those did. But now we have some shimmery little accents that we'll be able to use. Let's paint these real quick. So I'm going to start with the green. Let's put these over here. Let's separate them out on my dirty paper. Not that it matters. It looks well loved. Well used. So where did I put my block with my... Here it is, right in front of me. It's clear. Is this the green side? Nope. Again, I'm just going to dab a little bit of that, a little bit more on these green ones because there's several leaves, so might as well not have to keep re-inking it. Just kind of hold the stem and then color it. And we're going to do the same thing where we let some of them be a little bit darker than others, so we have some fun shading on our card. Now, because I'm not sure, I don't think the glycerin would do anything to your stamp pad, but I'm not 100% sure. So I am just going to take that and just kind of wipe it up for my last little coat. And that way there's none of it left in the lid. I have never done the same with my Wink of Stella, and I color with my Wink of Stella all the time, and I've never noticed. I mean, sometimes they get a little sparkly at the top of your pad, but it just makes me happy because who doesn't need a little bit of sparkle? And then let's flip over to this other side. Get rid of that purple, and I'll be right back to the same thing I was before. It's really nice to not worry about what's left in the brush of this, because normally I'm so careful on a blender pen not to soak up all of the solution as I'm cleaning it. So this, I have my pumpkin pie, and I'm just going to add it right here to the centers. So we've got those, and then I'm just going to grab this. Well, that's kind of in there. That's part of the reason my brushes had so much color in them. Let's just go back to this. 2 things we want to do to this. Well, if I can pick it up, I could just slide it. Just going to clean my brush again. One more little coat of that pumpkin pie right there. And now that's pretty clean because I want my blender pen to not have any ink in it for this next step. Because remember, I told you that we were going to color our flower because we don't want it, that big flower, to be any less sparkly. So get as much as I can off of here. And then I'm just going to grab the solution here. And I hope you can see it. It does make a difference, and I will show you on my dry one when I finish it. So I'm just going to kind of fill that in, and that glycerin will soak in. It does take it a minute because it's got lots of it on there, but it does dry. And for this, I'm going to clean it off right here. And then you know how I told you that when I have this, I only did half of that, so I don't waste it, and so it doesn't, if you don't have a cat who hops on your table, you probably could just leave it there till the next time you're ready. I don't want to get anything in mine, so I will just clean off my brush and clean off that there. And now I have another piece of glycerin that I can, or shimmer paper. So let's put this together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to grab this fabulous new ribbon. And I don't know that I have used it on any videos. I didn't have an open one, which is weird because I feel like I have one. I don't know, maybe I haven't used it all. It's an online exclusive. It is the white frayed grosgrain. So hopefully you can see it. It is grosgrain with a nice frayed edge. It's beautiful. So I'm going to take this, and remember I told you that I was glad this had this here. So we're going to do a little faux bow so we can get it to go through our little bucket. So for this piece right here, we just need enough that it will wrap around. So I want this to kind of be almost in the center, not quite, a little bit to the right of my card. So let's trim this. And then we just need another one to do a knot. Go ahead and stick this onto my card here. A little bit to the right. My other one wasn't quite, I wanted it a little bit more after I was done, but you know, that's what happens when you get to make two cards. I'm going to add this on here. A little bit through the center. Fold those around. I have stuff everywhere. And then pop this on here. I'm not going to press very hard here yet until I get this piece on, and then we'll press it all down. That way if I need to move it. But you should just be able to slide this right under. And for all of you that hate to tie bows, which I didn't used to do as many cards like this, but then so many of you, especially from Card Club, are like, oh, I can't tie a bow. So I like to give you ways where you don't have to have any talent at all because it's just a knot. Now in this, I'm not going to pull all the way as super tight as I can because I like that knot. And then go the direction that you kind of want it to go. So if you want it to go more up, you need to turn this and kind of go that way. And now I'm going to press everything down because now it's where we need to be. And then at the end, I will trim those little frays off, although they're kind of cute. So let's take this piece here. And see, the glycerin has dried, but it gives this little flower, see now it looks different than the background. So it has a little bit of its own character. I'll take 2 dimensionals because I want this to stay. See how it's nice and circly, and it's right now it's circly because the paper's wet. But you can get it to keep that with dimensionals. So I'm going to add 2 and pull those off. And then when you put it on, just go ahead and rebend it a little bit. Just like that. So get that first one on there, and then I'm going to bend that up just a little bit. And then it keeps that, but not so much that it won't go back down in an envelope, but it'll pop up. So now we have all of these to use. I'm going to grab take my pick tool that has this end on it. I'm going to start with the leaves. So you can grab one with this and then get your glue on with your fine tip glue. Oh, those in there. I'm just going to kind of do leaves around. Okay, so there's our leaves. Now let's add our flowers. I like this combination because I can put that on there and then I can kind of move it with this tip. This is one of my favorite tips. So there's two larger flowers. I don't want them to be right next to each other. Put this one over here because it will hold its own with that ribbon. Okay, let's go ahead and glue this on. Oops, that glue right there on my finger makes everything move. I'm gonna put this lid on so it doesn't dry up. And then for my embellishments, I went with, I think they're called Dots for Days. Dots for Days. I like when our embellishments have a name that's not just metallic adhesive back something. And the colors, so these colors are not these colors. They're not even close. I think this is Daffodil, but I think this is Garden Green. I think this is Pool Party, and I think this might be Pretty in Pink. None of those were colors that I used on here except for the daffodil. So when I pulled them out, I was only going to use the daffodil, but then I thought, no, they just look fun and summery. So I used all the colors. So let's get a Pool Party one here. I did use more daffodil than anything else because it did match. And let's go up here. You know, I love lots of embellishments. You just want to make sure that you have an odd number. So there's 5, which is how many I did on my other one. I cut this piece of paper a fraction bigger, which you wouldn't think 1/4 of an inch makes a huge deal, but it does make it a little bit bigger. So let's go ahead and add a couple more. So I like the pink. I'll put some on this side. And should we do another oh, I don't have any of the Garden Green. So there we go. So I hope you can see the shimmer. It's something that you will have to try, see where it got it on the back. And then the flowers. So here's the other one. It's falling off the back. Apparently I didn't push it down hard enough when I mounted it together because nothing is stuck. Maybe I hadn't decided that I wanted brown. I tried different colors. I originally had it on a beige background. And I pulled that off. So here's this. See I think we don't have orchid. I'm gonna check as soon as I'm done. This one's a little bit higher up. And then you can see because I stamped, see the lines on these are all finer. These are all thicker because that paper was ever so damp when I stamped on it. So if you like the finer lines, just give it 2 minutes before you stamp. I don't want to sit here for 2 minutes while you all are watching nothing happen on a video, although you had to do that while I held my cat. So if you're interested in my online card club or my Try It class or anything else, my free gifts with purchase every month, just click on the link that's below this video and you can go to my website and get all the information. Have a great one. Bye.